What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video where today we're going to talk about bleed builds. Yes, I've not done one in such a long time, and after I'd finally finished doing my huge rant about the turmoil knee pads, I sat down on my Discord server with a couple of the guys and just talked about what we kind of think is the best in slot bleed build. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. There's a huge amount of variations of bleed build. You can do it in a lot of different ways. You can give yourself more damage by running things like glass cannon and things like that, but obviously that then becomes slightly awkward in some gameplay styles, especially if you're a bit more of a run and gunner where you're going to be taking so much incoming damage it can actually cause extra downtime and things like that. And what's funny is on Twitter, Matt Goes Book had also posted like a Division 1 bleed build with a Division 2 bleed build there, and actually came to very similar conclusions by the looks of it to how he runs his Division 2 bleed build as well. So big shout out to him. Be sure to go and check out his content. He's an absolute Division OG. So with all that said, let's look at the build before I show you some gameplay. Let's do it a little bit different today, and I kind of show you some reasoning behind why I'm doing certain things. And actually I'm going to make one change to this build because we're going to run the seasonal modifiers. There's a change that I will make just to make our lives a little bit more comfortable when we're running this build. Now if we wanted to max out damage, we actually would run the glass and glass cannon chest piece. We'd talk about brand sets and and things like that as well for it. Obviously, maybe we would just go with a Seska or a group or with glass cannon, or you could go perfect glass cannon if you were some kind of masochist, but you could do that and do more damage, but it does make the gameplay a little bit more clunkier, and the talent on the the ongoing directive chest piece got changed. Increases hollow point ammo weapon damage amplification to 50%, so that's pretty big, and it's a lot of damage for no real negative trade-off, right? Whereas glass cannon obviously has a negative trade-off. So obviously we're not taking any extra good gear set bonuses or brand set bonuses or anything like that at this point, but we want to make our lives a little bit easier, so we're going to go with this chest, right? So we've got crit chance, crit damage on it, weapon damage, and if you don't know by now, ongoing directive gives us status effects which makes them bleed for longer, gives us reload speed which is no slouch, so we'll take it. And then, as you can see here, killing a marked enemy grants a full clip of hollow point ammo for your active weapon and half a clip for everybody else in your team, which is really, really nice. The clip lasts for 10 seconds, but it just restacks all the time. You never have to worry about it running out. But hollow point ammo amplifies weapon damage by 20% and implies bleed on hit. The enemy has to have status effects for you to get that clip, but you can actually cheese that a couple of ways. You can actually get a clip of ammo in the range before you leave and go anywhere, and then you'll never run out. Or if you're like me, I just like to take the foam gun, foam an enemy in front of me, kill them, job done. Everything is great. So you got a couple of options when it comes to that. Now let's talk about why I'm running, why I'm going to change this Grupo backpack. So if you look at the modifiers that we have right now, I like running overdrive because it's instantly maxed out, so that's kind of nice. And that's great. So then we have the modifiers here, right? And if we were to look at these modifiers, so critical hits restore 0.5 of your maximum armor, that's kind of nice, right? I'll take it. Now what we could do here, there's an argument to say we could take Reaper Scan off and we could run critical momentum. Critical hits have a 40% chance to grant 1% momentum. That's great, but then we've nothing else that we could select or use here unless we have some kind of pulse on that would benefit the build. You could say, actually, I'm going to run a shield, and then you could say, right, okay, that would be great. I'll run fortified shield, and then that would work. Or if you're going to run the drone, perhaps that would work, but I mean, it doesn't really fit too well with the build. So we're kind of out of options at the moment. So I like to run microwave coils because it gives you that extra bit of CC, personality and all the rest of it. Now, there's couple of ways we can kind of build this into the build if we wanted to. So if you wanted to go with an actual pulse, we could run the jammer pulse at this situation like this, and that classes as a status effect, and if you kill them, you're good to go at that point. You're all good, and obviously you'll set multiple on fire, and that's great. And we kind of would keep this like this. In fact, we would make a further change to it at this point. we would put Gunner on, because Gunner gives us an extra bit of survivability at this point and gives us some armor on kill, right? Which is really, really good. We can actually also put some 10% extra crit damage mod in there as well, buffing our stats. And that's kind of where my happy place is. This is really, really nice. Blue screen, status effects, gun as a backup with a huge mag, which we probably would never use, but that's kind of where I'm happy at this point. That's great. Other options would be to change this back to the launcher. Then we could put the linked laser pointer on the Lexington. And then we could think about maybe running something like, and this is where I'm going to get, oh my god, of course he's got the God Roll backpack in the comments. But then we could run something like a Palisade backpack with Wicked, which is going to give us 10% armor on kill, right? So we're not running Gunner anymore at that point because we need the linked laser pointer into the build, because the linked laser pointer pulses bad guys when you just aim at them. So then we could run this, still get some survivability in the build, and, you know, not lose too much crit damage or anything like that. And then also at that point as well, we could run the foam launcher or something else like that as well, or, you know, just whatever at that point. So you've got a bunch of options that you can do here at this point, depending on what specialization and what backpack you want to run. But this is kind of where I kind of like it. This fits kind of nice. I get the armor on kill from Gunner, which is great. I've got some little bit of survivability, and I'm still buffing my friends as well. If we were to look at the stats as well on this, 56 crit chance, 128% critical hit damage. I like this number being as high north of 100% for it to really feel worth it. So therefore, being able to run the 10% mod on the gun and run a group or piece kind of synergizes as well to make the most of that critical hit damage, you know, so it kind of just fits kind of nice. But yeah, there are all your options. So very quickly, let's go through the build because we've talked about it a lot. So Lexington with damage to target out of cover, and then we've got Sadist on the gun, amp damage by 30% to bleeding enemies. It does bleed after 4 kills, but we never need that because of the OD. Then we're going to go with Coyote's Mask, crit chance, crit damage, because the talent then also buffs our teammates. Now, we've got another decision that we can make here as well. We could perhaps lose our crit chance down to around 50%, because we know that chances are we're probably going to be playing in this 15 to 25 meter range, which would then cap out our critical hit chance anyway, and therefore gives us the opportunity to do some extra damage with the you know, with critical hit damage, right? So that's an option that will change as well as we work through the build. Here's the group or backpack, crit damage, crit chance, crit damage with Wicked on the back. Now Wicked obviously doesn't do the most damage here. Vigilance or Unstoppable Force would do the most damage here, so you've got that to consider as well, that you can run them. Unstoppable Force doesn't have any downtime, but it does have obviously the fact that you've got to kill some enemies, so if you're running in a team, that does have an effect on that as well. Wicked has no effect on that, it's just always on because of how the build works, so you've got that to think about as well, which is so for me, like I said, we've gone for the easy route here, the one that feels the most comfortable and into less pain to run. So Wicked is the obvious option. Then we've got the ongoing directive chess piece, which we did look at earlier on, with crit chance, crit damage. And what we'll do is we will change this piece here to crit damage, which will lower our stats, and I will show you them again in just a moment. Then we've got the gloves with weapon damage, crit chance. The knees, weapon damage, crit chance. And the holster, weapon damage, crit chance. Our stats now have changed down to exactly 50%, which is actually really nice, and 140% critical hit damage. So all of a sudden now, that critical hit damage number jumps up really, really quick. And this does give you a little bit of leniency, like I said, to perhaps change this around. And if you wanted to run, you know, some extra armor on kill and put a Palisade backpack in, you could do. And like I said, you can run Unstoppable Force. You can run Vigilance. You don't have to be stuck to feel like you have to run Wicked just because it's a bleed build. You really don't have to. So you've got them options as well. You could also drop out the Coyote's Mask and not benefit the team as much. And if you wanted to run a Palisade Mask or something like that, you could also do that. That's another option as well. And back in the day, I actually used to run 2 Bellstone, because that gives us armor regen and armor on kill. Let's not sleep on how good Bellstone is. It's been around for a long time. Just because Palisade's in town, you know, you could run 2 Bellstone here, get some armor regen as well, and get some extra survivability. So yeah, lots of options, but that is going to be it. So what I'm going to do, a little bit unusual because I've not got any survivability, I'm going to take it to legendary and see how good it is. Now, The problem is going to be here with Legendary is a bleed build isn't going to work too well on the mini tanks or anything like that and things, which is going to be a little bit awkward. But that's why I brought my secret weapon. I brought the blue screen because the blue screen gives us status effects, will give us the bleed bullets kind of natively. So that's why I brought that. But we have to stack it up. So I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to get the bullets in the range or anything like that. We're going to kind of see how good it is. We know this build would absolutely decimate in, you know, heroic and things like that. So let's just kind of see how we get on here. Now, I am going to switch to my other gun in a minute. Just kind of going to get the danger out of the way. But at this point, we've done a really good use case for the for using the blue screen. A really good use case. Now, this is going to be with no... We were decimating with no bleed bullets, which is wild. Let's use this guy to get ourselves some bleed bullets. Obviously, we've got foam grenades as well. If we can get that, if we get him in sight. Imagine we can't kill him. There we go. And we get ourselves our bleed bullets. And then, as you can see, when we can actually hit them, we do a lot of damage. Bro, stop hiding. We've lost our bleed bullets. Why did we lose our bleed bullets? Maybe it lends itself a little bit to... Oh, man. So we could do this. Double switch. As well, because we have such a huge mag. Maybe because they're at distance, right? Yeah, we are losing our bleed bullets playing at this difficulty because of how small our mag is and them being at distance, right? So do think about that a little bit. Yeah, the bigger mag just obliterates them at this point, doesn't it? See, we're honest on this channel. Maybe we should turn it into the blue screen bleed build. Okay, overdrive's just maxed all the time. Obviously, that gives us our bleed bullets back as well, which is nice. Look at that. That's just crazy. I half killed him before the bleed status effect even managed to get on him. Yeah. Absolutely insane. We are going to give it a fair run over in the Lincoln Memorial. Who's still fighting me? Oh, they're going to blow up. In fact, we're going to check this on the floor, right? Legendary loot and its mods. This could be protection from elites. It's not. And it's not maxed. Boom. Alright, so we're going to go over to Lexington to Lincoln to end the video. Video's long today. Come on, Tickle. This is not how we should be doing it. But I'm just going to kind of do this first area very, very quickly. Alright, so we'll whack it on heroic. We've got no bleed bullets. We've got no overdrive right now. Although we have got half overdrive, technically. We need you to secure the memorial and remove the True Sun's forces. The idea is you just kind of run in. The True Sons will be a direct threat to the campus. Get your bleed bullets. There you go. At this point then, you'll never run out of bleed bullets. You can just kind of push. And you can see, you know, you can see millions here. Like, you know, you'll do a lot of damage very easily. I mean, these are red bars, right? They're nothing to really worry about. You've got a revive hive. You can kind of push and, you know, play dangerously. You know, who cares? Play a bit safer once your revive hive's on cooldown. But yeah, as you can see, all around good for all content. Even chungers. Oh, I thought he died.
Serious trauma detected.
And what you've got to kind of remember as well is that if you're playing with the directive on that kills your ammo, you'll never run out of ammo because it constantly is regenerating ammo for you. Yeah, and it's just that easy. If you want to stick around, you can do for this next section where I'm going to have some elites because people cry that I'm doing content that only shows red and purple bad guys. But I mean, we've been in legendary, so that doesn't really apply. But don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video. Double chungers. Content's being put to work. Look it down. Who's still watching? Who's still watching? So at this point, you just play more cautious, right? Wee. See ya.
All clear. I repeat, the compound is all clear.
No, that can't be all of them.